Accountability of the political class should be of utmost importance to Nigerians at this time, rather than the race for the 2015 general elections. This is coming from the Deputy Senate President, Senator Ike Ekweremadu, who has called for consideration of the single-term tenure as recommended by the Senate Committee on Constitution Review. He was speaking at an international conference on media and elections in Abuja. Some other participants at the conference raised some questions about the nation's electoral system. Our correspondent, Gloria Umezioke, reports.
Less than 2 years away from the next general elections, and politicians have entangled in deep political crisis. The dispute over who will take over the reins of power in 2015 apparently has overshadowed governance across states. Drawing more attention to this fact, the Deputy Senate President, Ike Ekweremadu, urged media practitioners at this forum not to be caught in the fireworks and overheat the polity, but objectively probe activities of politicians.
I therefore urge members of the media to turn down the volume of the 2015 election. It is too loud. This unnecessary overheating of the polity over 2015 ambitions and contestations also brings us to the question of the appropriate tenure of office for elected executives. Did we throw away the single term as recommended by the Senate Committee on Constitutional Review in a hurry? I leave further probing of this proposal to you.
The Independent National Electoral Commission also received criticisms over the promised distribution of the permanent voters card and the biometric system.
2010 to 2030, we are waiting for permanent cards, and every day there's a news item about how they are about to collect new ones. We don't get to see the permanent card. What is happening now is the use of biometrics. And please, don't get me wrong, the biometrics I'm talking about is the real one, not the one we have now that road safety is doing one, police is doing one, national identity card is doing one, INEC is doing one, population commission is doing one. Those are 419 biometrics.
The essence of electronic voting is what is constitutionally not provided for. So INEC cannot go ahead and do any form of electronic voting. And for now, we have about 45 million permanent voters' cards that have been produced. We have discussed processes of distributing them and making sure they reach the individual owners.
But going forward, constant monitoring of politicians and public office holders by the media remains key to entrenching the right political system and electoral process in the coming months before the 2015 elections. Gloria Umezioke, Channels Television News.
As the 2015 general elections draw closer, one major challenge the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, is tackling head-on is the deployment of information and communication technology in its operations. This indication was given by the chairman of INEC, Professor Atahiru Jega, who gave the assurance that the Commission is working to achieve its vision of electronic collation of results after elections. The INEC chairman noted at a forum on election observation in Abuja that INEC is poised to check issues associated with poor logistics ahead of the general elections. And as we approach the November 16th governorship election in Anambra State, there's been surprising and interesting developments among political actors in the state. But all this has taken a new twist with the publication of a list of party candidates by the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. On our big story tonight, correspondent Lanre Lasisi looks at the implications of the list of candidates published by INEC.
Instant noodles, tasty nutrition, good for you.
For the past few months, Anambra State has been politically alive as political parties warm up for the coming governorship elections. Aspirants were not left out, jostling to emerge as the candidate of their parties. This appears to have come to an end with the release of the list of candidates by the Independent National Electoral Commission. The column for the People's Democratic Party was the focal point for most people. The party has had 3 candidates jostling for the position, and a long line of court processes appeared not to make things clearer.
We all know that there has been court actions and counter actions and all that, legal impediments here and there. People have to go to court to seek their names to be, seek to be flag bearers, while others have also gone to ensure that the so-called flag bearers are not the flag bearers. So there has been contentions and there has been factions.
But for the electoral umpire, a decision had to be taken.
There is a court order, which is the latest in there is a court order that compels. That court order actually is both declaratory and mandatory, as the legal people will say. It orders INEC to receive the name of a candidate, and like we've always said, this is a law-abiding commission, so we have to obey the court.
The publication has drawn different reactions.
The candidate of PDP now is about doing everything possible to make sure that PDP wins the election. And in order to achieve that, you need everybody. There can't be a winner, there can't be a loser. All of us are winners because it's about PDP, it's not about Okachubu.
I think INEC is playing safe, and that is as it should be. If you have a court order, you are bound by it. So we are taking it well in the hope that in the course of time it will be. Because if you start doing anything now, it will mean stifling legitimate political opposition. So we need to obey what the court has decided upon.
The candidate picked by INEC came as a surprise, as many people believe the commission was more inclined to the candidacy of Senator Andy Uba.
It is because, like we've always said, the commission's role is purely magisterial. We umpire. We say repeatedly, we don't field candidates. And when people say the commission supports candidates, it can't be true. INEC support candidate, it doesn't field candidates. So why will he support any candidate? Ours is magisterial.
The decision of the Supreme Court is very clear. The provisions of the Electoral Act are very clear. The provisions of the party's constitution are also very clear. The primary is that the law countenances for purposes of determining the gubernatorial candidate of a party is that done by a national executive.
For now, it's clear a legal battle is still ahead, a battle which some say may affect the party's chances in the elections.
And then, of course, INEC has accepted and published, pursuant to the judgment of the court, the name of the party's candidate. So the party will go to the election with a candidate. And some of these issues are pending, and we do hope that notwithstanding the nominee of the party, the issues which are now on appeal will be quickly determined so that we are not faced with the situation that you present.
It is hoped that parties are able to sort themselves out to get their acts together within the legal framework, legal framework, because of course there's a time frame for everything, and it's in their best and enlightened interest to do that. It makes the work of the commission also easier.
November is just around the corner, and registered voters in Anambra State certainly have a rich field of candidates to choose from, as 23 political parties set out to capture what is now the most sought-after seat in Anambra State. Lanre Lasese for The Big Story.
Indomie instant noodles, tasty nutrition, good for you.
The Adamawa state government and the governor of the state, Murtala Nyako, have been dragged before a Yola High Court by a group seeking an order of perpetual injunction restraining the governor from sourcing for an external loan. In a writ of summons filed by Albert Stephen, Penny Boga and Francis Zira as concerned citizens of Adamawa state, the plaintiffs claim the loan of over $24 million will further impoverish the people of the state. The plaintiffs are praying the court to declare the action of Governor Nyako as unwarranted, unconstitutional, and a breach of the governor's oath of office. Also joined in the suit as defendants are the Adamawa State House of Assembly and the State Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice. No date has been fixed for the hearing of the case. And an Edo State High Court has remanded an official of the Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria, FAN, in prison custody for failing to meet his bail conditions in a case between the Edo State Board of Internal Revenue and the Airports Authority. The official, Mr. O.F. Adeboye, and 2 others are charged with conspiracy to assault, molest, and hinder officers of the Edo State Internal Revenue Service from enforcing the payment of due taxes and the restraining order issued by a High Court of Edo State against FAN. While the 3 accused persons were granted bail and released after 24 hours in prison custody last month, at the resumed hearing, the court was told that Mr. Adeboye, Chief Security Officer of the airport, was yet to fully meet his bail conditions. The trial judge, Honorable Justice J.I. Acha, subsequently ordered that he be remanded in prison custody until he meets his bail conditions. The defendants were granted bail in the sum of 500,000 naira each, with sureties who must be resident in Benin City, own a house, must be gainfully employed, must show evidence of 3 years tax clearance, among others. The case has been adjourned till November the 14th on the account of absence of the defendant's lawyer for commencement of the main hearing of the case. Now, the dust seems not to have settled over the allegation of fraud leveled against a former Anambra State Commissioner for Special Duties, Vincent Ezenwajaku. At a briefing in Lagos, the Commissioner of Police Special Fraud Unit, Mr. Tunde Ogunshakin, insisted that the accused person was involved in a 10 million naira fraud and should report to the unit or risk being arrested.
This conference came up after he was declared wanted by the Special Fraud Unit of the police in Lagos over his involvement in a 10 million naira fraud between 1996 to 2002.
Out of Chu's own volition, he withdrew from the company.
Mr. Ezenwajaku, a lawyer by profession and the former Commissioner for Special Duties in Governor Peter Obi's cabinet, had filed a 250 million naira libel suit against the police and others. Mindful of this development, the police commissioner insists that the accused should submit himself for further investigation.
Before we declare him wanted, our officers were in Oka. He made statements and he was released on bail. He actually jumped bail. Most time when we will be going there to look for him, he'll be hiding in the fortress and security of the government house. But we are happy that the governments are pushing him out. But if he doesn't come, we'll know what to do. We'll pick him and then we will give justice.
The Commissioner of Police also used this occasion to speak on the transfer of about $640,000 recovered from a Lagos-based Chinese businessman to the country's embassy officials in Lagos.
The Special Fraud Unit hereby hand over the sum of US dollars 644,171, being amount recovered for the unpaid loan obtained from second sub-branch of China Agricultural Bank of Kwandao to the Nigerian Chinese Embassy for onward transfer delivery to the Chinese authorities. The venue of the offense is China. We have not seen any offense he has committed here, so we are not charging him for anything here.
The fraud unit also warned those involved in all forms of internet fraud to desist from such or be caught by the web of the law.